here tonight. She's got a great story to tell. Let's make some noise for Nettie Zan.
Oh, y'all looking good out there. Nobody's sunburned. How many of y'all thought you were aliens when you were little kids? Anybody else out there? Hey, good. Me too. And what that basically means today, standing here in front of y'all, is that in the course of my life, I've made what other people call some extremely questionable decisions. One of which included telling my brother over sushi, you know what I'm going to do next year? Be homeless. He was like, don't call it that. Call it a poetry tour. That's a good idea. And so that led me to living in my truck and landed me at a hippie commune in March of 2020. Yeah, I know. And I was only going to stay for 3 weeks, but then it was like, fuck it. I'm here now. I said, I live here now. And I actually loved it. I had a great, incredible time at the hippie commune. Out in nature, a lot of hiking, a lot of rivers. No sunscreen. You time that stuff right. You don't need it. But it's really, really hard work because it's like 2,000 acres. There's 70 people who live there, and we're almost self-sufficient. And all of us know nothing of how to do anything and have to do everything. And there's like 3 old men who are like, oh, I'm sick of training new people. But we learn. And so, some of us get real tough. And I was like, team brute force, climbing roofs, all the plumbing. And so when a 20-year-old, pale as a white alien, little dots of glued jewels on her face, in a chiffon pajama, arrives in the August heat to harvest potatoes in the lower garden, which, if y'all haven't done, is the single most back-breaking work you can possibly imagine. And she gets down late, sweating, misting. And she doesn't pick up a shovel. She doesn't grab the cart. She doesn't carry a hoe, nothing. And we're out here like breaking our backs. Everybody's in the buck, Byron. We're breaking our backs, digging these out, and you have to like reach down 12 feet into the earth to pull potatoes out. I mean, it's truly laborious. And Moon's like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm in the healing business. And this entire time, and it's like an 8-hour job for half a row, Moon is telling us all about how, with her training in the healing arts at 20, not in college, it's online. She can do it from the commune while gardening and can heal us of anything in 1 hour. I can help you start flossing. I can help you stop smoking. Literally anything. Meet me up at the mess hall and I'll give you the paperwork. I'll give each of you a free session. So I'm going to be real honest with y'all. This was my reaction. Fuck this bitch. Oh my God. 20 years old. Chiffon negligee. Where was her parasol? Come on. And I get devious about it. Right? Anything. I got a lot of trauma. What's the deepest, darkest shit? My deepest seated belief is actually that I'm inherently unlovable. Anybody else? No, just kidding. And then I'm like a little sad. And I'm angry. angry. And I'm like, the paper, what would you like to fix? I would like to stop believing that I am inherently unlovable. Woo! Thank you. Oh, that felt nice. Whatever that was. That made my nipples hard. Thank you. I give the paper to Moon. She looks it over and she's just like, oh, thank you. That feels great. How's Sunday at 2? Oh, fine. Sure. After brunch. Perfect. She's like drop dead gorgeous, by the way. So, Sunday at 2 comes along, and I'm huffy, and I'm like, whatever. And we go into my room, and we're sitting, because at a commune, there's no privacy. 0. Even your room is like these paper-thin walls. But this is the best we got. We're in my room. We're sitting on my bed, and she's like, you're not feeling this, are you? And I was like, I don't know. And I don't know what she did. I can't remember it. I really tried to remember to tell you the story, but something she did, some look in her eye, something. I was like, just suddenly, okay. And she was like, okay, let's get started. We're going to time regress you back through every time you ever felt inherently unlovable. And just kind of go from there. We're activating the unconscious. And I was like, oh, I kind of into that, actually. So we start going back, and it's like, okay, the first time my son said he hated me. And it hurts to tell the story. And so she says, now, put yourself out deep in star space. Well, that happens to be the best place I could possibly go because I actually think I'm an alien from being a child. So I was like, okay, good call, Moon. In my head, I'm thinking. And then we go back down. The time my partner threw me against the car and I had to hide from them for the rest of the night. Bounce back out to star space. And then the time that my mom wouldn't go to my college graduation. Bounce back out to star space. Come back down. We're hitting these traumatic moments. You know, the time in high school, my grandfather died and the whole family just ignored me as though I weren't there. Back out to star space. And back through all of these memories. And I'm becoming, very upset. I'm very into it. And it's very trying. Every time I'm getting teary-eyed and hard to tell the story, she just bounces me back out to this safe space. And then she brings me back in. And I'm 4 years old. And I'm looking at my mom. And she's fighting with her second husband. My father's just died. And she's married the next guy in the row. That's unfair to her, but it's a short amount. It's 10 minutes. I'm looking down the hall. It's a new husband. I'm 4 years old. My dad's just died. And they're just fighting. And I'm telling Moon this. And I'm just weeping, and she's bounced me out. It takes a number of bounces out to even get the whole story told to Moon. And when we come back in, she's like, what do you want? And I'm like a little bit put more together. And she says, what do you want to do in this space, looking at your mom? And I said, I want to say to her, I need you to leave. I need you to get better. I need you to get sober. I need you to take care of me. And I didn't have the words for those kind of things as a kid. They were all feelings. Feelings that didn't have a way to be expressed. And I realized with Moon in that moment that that's the core of what made me feel unlovable. All of those years was simply because I couldn't express my needs, my very self, my identity to my mother in that moment. And that somehow I had made a habit of not expressing my needs to every single person in every one of those instances down the line. And somehow got in my head that I was a poison and that everyone around me would come to some kind of horror. And that all I needed to do was learn to speak my needs and to take a risk on being known with the people I loved. Because if I didn't do that, How could I be loved? I had never really shared my true self. And Moon and I wrote down 2 things that day. And I'm a prolific writer, y'all. And so I looked back at it today. I was like, I wrote down 2 things from all that. And one said, love is a wealth of pain. And the other said, star kind. And Moon said, I love you. And it was the first time in my life that I believed it. And I believed that Moon loved me. And we were weeping together, y'all, and just holding each other so tight. And I was also in this moment of realization that I loved myself. And that had been part of it. That I hadn't really loved myself because I'd been so protective of everything this entire time. I didn't have a chance to think about it. And Moon loved me, and I loved myself. And then I thought about this after it went away, because these things are ephemeral. I'm so moved to be able to tell you a glimmer of what happened that day. The magic that happened that day. And I said, this is a thing that must be honored. How do I honor this revelation and stick with it? Because those habits are 42 years deep. I got to stick with it and honor this revelation and carry it forward. And so I decided to get my knuckle tattoos, which I'd always wanted, but never knew what I wanted to get. But we'd written down 2 things, and love is a wealth of pain didn't fit. But star kind did. Like mankind, the star kind. Not because I'm an alien, but because we shine. We are of a kind, and we shine. And we are the nourishment of the earth, and why we need sunscreen. And to always lead with kindness. And to never call a beautiful young woman who would change my life so profoundly a nasty name again. And to be happy that not everyone's meant to dig up potatoes.
Everybody, they are Nettie Zan.
Thank you for sharing your
I will fight everybody in here. We're going to try that again, everybody. I will fight. I will roll out here, fight the shit out of all y'all. They are Nettie Zan.
Thank you for sharing your truth.